Welcome back. In this lesson we're going to take a look at ethics and professional conduct. Now the PMI, the Institute, actually has its own professional conduct code. Now this ensures that everyone works with integrity, honesty, fairness, respect, responsibility. You can see those ones there. That's because when you're a member of the PMI, you wear their badge. You've had their seal of approval, and they need to ensure that all of its members act with those things in mind. It's not only about the reputation of the PMI, yourself and the company that you work for and the projects that you're delivering, but it's also something that will keep your project moving smoothly, avoiding delays and avoiding things going wrong. So we're going to take a little look. Key points. So ethics are essential for creating trust, credibility and sustainable profession. Very true. Project managers often work with teams and stakeholders from diverse cultural, professional and personal backgrounds, which makes adherence to ethical principles critical. Like I've said before, as a project manager, you are the key, you are the linchpin, you are the centre point of this project. So it is important that you, above all else, act with integrity and honesty. Because otherwise, if you don't, then that negativity will seep into the entire project. So building trust in teams. Trust is the foundation of any successful project team. When a project manager is transparent and fair in decision making, it builds team confidence and encourages accountability, which is exactly true. Like I said before, project management is about leadership. And in order to be a leader, you have to stand at the top with honesty, with fairness, with integrity. That will then filter down to your teams, to your resource. And that is then going to be felt by the customer and the rest of the wider business. Enhancing stakeholder confidence. Again, I just touched on this. Ethical conduct strengthens relationships with stakeholders, leading to smoother project execution, which it does. Mitigating risks. Again, ethical missteps can result in project delays, legal penalties, or reputational damage. Proactively adhering to ethical principles helps avoid these risks. Now, legal penalties is one that I think will be touched on quite a bit later in the course. But it is huge, especially when you are delivering very large projects, because there will always be contracts behind the large projects, especially if you're delivering into, let's say, government or a government institution. Those are not projects that you can afford to act with dishonesty in or have any missteps in. So it is key that you abide by the ethical code of conduct. And this is the code of conduct here. It's a roadmap for ethical behaviour within project context, organised around 4 key values: responsibility, respect, fairness and honesty. So we'll go through those one by one. Responsibility. Project managers must take ownership of decisions, ensuring project goals are met while considering all societal and environmental impact. Respect. Treating all stakeholders with dignity, regardless of rank or cultural differences, is a core requirement of ethical conduct. Now, to me, that also should translate into your own team, your own resource, internal and external, or everyone involved with the project, but also just going through everyday life, to be honest. The PMI and any project management certification, anything that comes with a code of conduct, it is a professional code of conduct, but I think it should be personal as well. Take those ethics from your work life and employ them in the day-to-day life, because things will get a lot smoother as well. Fairness. Acting impartially and avoiding favouritism ensures all stakeholders are treated equitably or equally, which again just speaks for itself. You know, it's not about anyone being above anyone else. So when I speak about leadership, it's not about being above or being better than anyone else. It's about being a leader, but you're on the same playing field as everyone else. And a lot of project managers, although they are leaders, they will jump in and get involved with any task. Anything from delivery to QA to absolutely anything. It depends obviously what the project is, what the company is. But I've seen project managers do very, very entry-level junior roles. because that is what a leader does. When they are needed, they step up to the plate and they help move things on. And then honesty, providing truthful, accurate and timely information builds credibility for both the individual and the profession. Of course, there is the wider focus on the profession as a whole. The PMI wants project managers to be viewed as people who are honest, trustworthy, accountable, strong leaders, decisive. That is only done if project managers across the world act in that manner and follow this code of conduct. So they've got an ethical decision-making framework, and it's all about confronting ethical dilemmas. There's going to be a lot of times where you're going to have tough choices to make. So identify the dilemma, clearly define the conflicting interest and choices, compare options, evaluate against ethical principles, seek guidance when needed, collaborate with peers or mentors, gain perspectives. More eyes are better than one. And I've touched on this in a few other modules. It's all about communication and understanding that there's going to be someone else out there that might have a different take on the situation to you, but it might be a very valuable insight. So always go and seek those insights. So challenges in global projects. It is especially true when you are dealing with global projects, because there are cultural differences, there are language differences, there are all sorts of unique challenges that arise when you are dealing with international teams and globally moving enterprises. Cultural sensitivity, so recognizing and adapting to cultural norms without compromising ethical standards. What we consider as normal in the UK is not going to be the same as America, Australia, France, Germany, Spain, wherever. Everyone's going to do things slightly differently. And I've seen it myself a few times in the past, where people have acted in a certain way which almost made me feel, disrespected because it's different. I'm thinking, why have they done this? But to them, that's just the norm. They weren't trying to do that, and it's important that you understand that. Also, legal compliance. Different countries have different regulations and laws. So working with another team, they might be working differently, which might make you, question what's going on. There is more than likely very justified reasons, whether culturally or legally. Now, handling conflict of interest. So avoiding even the appearance of bias is crucial when managing stakeholder relations. You don't want to open that can of worms. So it's important that, from the very beginning, you make sure that, you understand the cultural differences, the legal differences in the avenue and arena and industry that you're working within, or the project that you're delivering, and what that's going to mean to the project and your stakeholders, and understand those. So measuring ethical performance. So project success is often evaluated numerically: budget, timeline, scope. But ethical success requires qualitative metrics instead of quantitative. So quantitative is facts, figures, numbers. Qualitative is essentially verbiage, it's words. So stakeholder trust levels. So periodic surveys can measure trust in the project team. So it's going out to the stakeholders and saying, tell me about your experience with X. Tell me how this project went. Tell me how they handled themselves when they delivered X, Y, and Z. Adherence to policies. Again, tracking compliance with organisational ethics and anti-corruption policies. Did you adhere and abide by the rules and policies that your company or your stakeholders or the project itself has set out? Resolution of ethical conflicts. So documenting and analysing past conflicts to derive actionable insights. Now this is important within any project because it's all about the learning. When you get to the end of any project, it's always good to take a step back and say, what did I learn from this project? What was good? What was bad? What do I need to change for next time? What do I keep the same? And the same goes for ethical performance. Did we have any ethical conflicts? Was there any disagreements? Did anything happen? Did we breach any policies, any laws? What do we need to be aware of for next time? And also the good bits, if you say, right, we work perfectly within this policy, good. Keep it where it is. Actionable examples. I'm not going to go through all of these. Also, you can take a look at these in your own time and have a little bit of a look at these examples here. Now we've got a few summary tables. Of course, the things that we've touched upon are going to be in these summary tables. So you've got ethical values on this one here. So responsibility, respect, fairness, and honesty. Those are those 4 key principles in the code of conduct. You've then got the decision-making framework. So the step-by-step things that you should be doing. Identifying the dilemma, evaluating your options, seeking guidance if you need to, taking action, and then reflecting and learning, and obviously looking back at what happened. Ethical challenges that might exist, cultural sensitivity, legal compliance, conflicts of interest, corruption, bribery, diverse stakeholder demands. Corruption and bribery is unfortunately a big one, especially when you are delivering very high profile projects in very high profile environments where there are a lot of interest and interested parties outside of the project. So government projects, projects in energy, tech, military, all these things where there's a lot of vested interests outside that would really like to either gain information or derail it or absolutely anything. So you do need to be wary at a certain level. But if you abide by the code of conduct as set out in the PMI, you'll be fine. So how to measure ethical performance. So trust levels, obviously those feedback surveys. How did X, Y, and Z do? Policy adherence rates. Are you complying with policies? Conflict resolution ratios. How are you handling conflicts when they happen, if they do? Your team's ethical awareness. Have they been trained? Has there been training sessions before the project has started with everyone involved so they are aware of any ethical issues that might arise? And then sustainability indicators. So when you are dealing with larger projects, the sustainability, the energy efficiency and environmental goals of the company will become apparent. And those are also something that you need to ensure that your project works within. Code of ethics integration. So initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closure. So, pretty much the steps that every project will follow. So you initiate it, you have that kick-off meeting, the kick-off session to get the project going. You then have a planning phase, you go into some detail about what it is you're looking to do. You execute it, you monitor it, you control it, and you close it afterwards. So it follows a very similar flow and process as the project as a whole. And then again, onto the multiple choice questions. So I will end the lesson there. Go through the multiple choice questions, see how you do. If you do struggle in any areas, then obviously go back through the course, go and firm up your understanding, and then give it another go. If you do struggle and you need to contact us, we are always contactable. Reach out if you need any support, and we will be more than happy to assist you and go through anything that you need us to go through. But go and have a go at the questions, and then we'll see you on the next lesson. Thank you.